What's up there, everyone? Welcome to another episode here on the podcast of the Heart Warrior Project. I'm Jellis Vaes, your host and a fellow cardiac arrest survivor. Now, in this episode, I had the pleasure to talk to Djara Walgien, who is, of course, a fellow cardiac arrest survivor, but someone who also survived about 10 years ago cancer. So, well, he has been thrown two of the, most challenging things at you in his life. So we do talk about quite a lot of very, meaningful things. And that's my aim, here with this project, to talk to fellow survivors, to help other survivors listening. Now, at times, I also will invite a cardiac health expert on the podcast, where you get the chance to ask your question too. Now, Djara is from the Netherlands, which, he's a neighbor, because I'm from Belgium, so yeah, we're neighbors. And I'm trying to diversify the podcast more, not alone with different ages, but also different countries and ethnicities. I think that's quite, adds more color to the podcasts. And it's sometimes very interesting to learn how things are done in one country and how they're done in another country. Now, lastly, before we dive into the episodes, if you will come to, enjoy this podcast episode, or if there were any other episodes that you enjoyed on the podcast, don't forget to subscribe. And if you could take a moment to leave a rating on whichever podcast app you're using, and mainly because you are directly helping other cardiac arrest survivors by doing that. You're allowing the podcast to be more spread out into the world by leaving a rating. And by that, again, more people, more cardiac arrest survivors might be able to find the podcast. So if you would take just, a couple of seconds of your time to do that, truly, truly thank you for doing that. All right. Having said that, please enjoy this episode with fellow cardiac arrest survivor and heart warrior, Djara Walgien. Djara, a warm welcome here to the podcast of the Heart Warrior Project. It's we planned this for a bit of time, right? So it's really nice to finally sit down and talk to each other. So welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me on your podcast, Jellis. So looking forward to it.
So I think you sent a little bit into me about, a bit about your story, because you had a cardiac arrest, but you also had cancer, right?
Yeah. I had a cardiac arrest in February last year. So I had my 1-year anniversary last month, and I had cancer 10 years before. Yeah.
Okay.
So.
That's a lot. Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, to be honest, my life is quite a bumpy road, but I'm really a positive person, and also a very happy person, and I'm not the person that is continuously looking back. I'm more or less always looking forward, and so I'm a happy person. But it was a bumpy road until now. Yeah, for sure.
Well, going through stuff like that, it either breaks you or makes you in a way, right? But it does depend a lot on your attitude in life. So if you're a positive person, that can only help a lot dealing with stuff like that. Wow. Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's about me. I think I'm a positive person, but it's also about all your friends, family around you. How do you cope with this? Type of situations, and I think it's also important that we are lucky to live in a country where you have all the facilities, all the professional experts, doctors to help you with it also, of course. So lucky person.
So it's been almost a year now since your cardiac arrest. Can you run us a little bit through the story, like where did you have it?
My specifically my heart story, it started in November 2022, so let's say 1.5 years ago.
Yeah.
Because or maybe somewhat before, in October, because I did DNA test,
Yeah.
because in my family we had quite uh, heartbreaking story, because my nephew was about 1 year old, and he went to the hospital very sick,
Yeah.
and eventually they noticed that it was dilated cardiomyopathy. So he had surgery multiple times. Very critical, but luckily he's doing great right now. Future is uncertain, of course, but it was a start of DNA test within our family, because the
I
father
see. Yeah, yeah,
of
yeah.
my nephew
Mm.
had a genetic defect, and so they went in our family, and eventually my mother also did tests, and she had DNA or genetic defect, and in the end I did the test and had the I was diagnosed in October 22
Yeah.
with that uh, defect, and I had to see a cardiologist for a checkup, and that was in November 22. And yeah, to be honest, my wife and I, we were in the waiting room making jokes, because it did remind us of our story 10 years before. I mean, when you had the same experience, a lot of elderly people, of course,
Yep.
and I believe I'm still young.
Yeah, yeah,
So
for sure.
yeah, yeah, so we were making jokes. Now we're again waiting in the waiting room and seeing a lot of elderly people, of course. But we didn't realize that 10 minutes later I was diagnosed with dilated cardiomyopathy, and
Yeah.
based on the tone of voice of the cardiologist, it was quite serious. I had my left heart chamber is dilated, so it's very
Yeah.
large,
Yeah.
um, and I had an ejection fraction or EF of 20%. So the pump function of my heart was significantly lower than it should be. I believe it's
Mm-hmm.
around 60 or 70% is normal.
Yes. Yeah.
So that was the start, and then you walk away with medication, and I was put on a list to. They would determine with another hospital if I would get an ICD.
Mm.
So
What medication were you given actually?
initially I was prescribed with losartan. So that was the first medication.
Yeah. Okay.
And later on, because it was, of course, start of quite an uncertain period, I was described with losartan, and then they added a beta blocker,
Yeah. Yeah.
bisoprolol.
Yeah. I got that one too.
Um, yeah, so
Mm.
that was a start, and November 22, I would see the cardiologist in February, 16 February of 23. But a week before, I had my sudden cardiac arrest. So it
Wow.
was just 3 months before, or I had my diagnosis, and 3 months later, I had a cardiac arrest.
That's insane. I mean, that
Yeah,
you
that
got diagnosed and then just
was,
a few months later you had a cardiac
yeah,
arrest.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So that is quite insane, quite shocking. Also for my cardiologist,
Hmm.
he was really stunned by having me here in his hospital after my cardiac arrest. So
And you were on the
yeah,
medication already.
yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
I were on the
So in
medication.
a way, it didn't really protect you in the way that it should have.
No, I'm not, of course, a cardiac expert. I did have how they call it, a left brendel branch block.
Yeah.
So somewhere the electric pulse through my heart, it wasn't really how it should be.
Okay.
But I'm assuming that it might be something to do with it. But
Hmm.
yeah, you
So
never
wait,
know.
and you
So
had your ICD already then, or you didn't
no,
had it? Okay. Wow.
no. And maybe what's interesting to mention also is that even in the Netherlands, where I live, we have a governmental institution. It's called the Zorginstituut that
Yeah.
sets the policy for our healthcare system, and they also set policies for who is entitled to have an ICD. And there was a discussion going on for, I believe, 3 or 4 years that this governmental institution, the Zorginstituut, they stated that too many people in the Netherlands would get an ICD. And they issued a report at the end of January, so the week before my cardiac arrest, where they advised to reduce the amount of ICDs. And that's interesting because instead of the other countries in Europe or the US, they based their findings on a literature study. And in the Netherlands, we thought we were smarter than the other countries in the world, and we give another advice. And the cardiac experts in the Netherlands, they didn't agree with that advice. So it was a strange, in my opinion, a strange conclusion. And I still think about it up till now. Did it impact my decision whether or not I would get an ICD? But I didn't have one. So yeah.
Wow. And where were you when you had your cardiac arrest, actually?
I was at home. Yeah. It was around 4:00 a.m., so in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And
so you
I was
asleep.
in bed.
Yeah.
I was asleep. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So my wife was sleeping next to me, and she woke up due to the noises I made, the gasping. You were aware of it, probably.
Yeah.
And she's really my life savior. She woke up, called the emergency line, was advised to get help from our neighbors. So she ran to our neighbors. They took me from the bed onto the ground, started CPR, and she did everything right. And we are also quite lucky in the Netherlands that we have quite a dense network of AEDs, and also a network of civilians who had CPR training, and they respond to an emergency call. So within 10 minutes or maybe 12 minutes maximum, a civilian, just a neighbor of somewhere a few blocks away,
oh, wow.
He was standing in our bedroom. Yeah.
What? I don't think we have that in Belgium, actually. That's amazing. That's a cool system,
that's really, really amazing. And I'm also very thankful to this person, this man that helped us before. He was there before the police was there and the ambulance was there.
So I assume they're volunteers who work. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, they're all volunteers. And,
maybe we do have it in Belgium. I'm not sure. Okay. Anyway, that's amazing. Okay, so this person went to help save your life.
Yeah. Wow. Together with my wife and my neighbors, and eventually the police arrived with an AED. So they shocked me, and eventually also there was a helicopter on its way, but I was in a
wow.
I'm not how to describe it. They sent a helicopter 2 times, but I was moving too much. I was told later on, so they couldn't transfer me with the helicopter. So
Wait, why the helicopter and not just an ambulance?
Yeah, there were 2 ambulances, but I'm not sure why. But in the Netherlands, when there's a emergency call that probably is a cardiac arrest,
Yeah.
they also send a helicopter, and I'm not sure why that is, but
Oh, that's interesting.
it, it, it has something to do with some additional expertise that they send along with the
Yeah.
helicopter, but I'm not sure. So
Wow. So there was quite a lot of people at the scene, at your
yeah,
house.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I have some pictures.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
The street was blocked with fire department, ambulance, etc. So
Yeah.
that's again, we're lucky to live in a place where all those
Yeah.
uh, yeah help is around.
In moments like this, because your story is a little bit similar, like to mine, I also had my cardiac
Hmm.
arrest when I was asleep. But in
Okay.
moments
Yeah.
of emergencies, you do appreciate the system that we have. Because in my
Yeah.
case too, like in just minutes, the fire department was there, the ambulance was there, everything was at the
Yeah.
scene in just in minutes, which just
Yeah.
that's amazing. And like you
Yeah.
said,
That's
we
it's,
are
it's,
lucky to live,
yeah.
yeah, in a world here where that is possible, or where people are in just minutes at your house.
Yeah. And it's crucial, of course,
Yeah.
because when it takes longer, the
Oh yeah.
impact on your life expectancy or your neurological damage is increasingly significantly. So yeah, lucky and happy to survive in the way I did, and yeah,
Yeah.
to sit here and to have a chat with you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And okay, so and then I guess they did place an ICD in you after that,
yeah,
or
yeah. They
yeah.
did eventually. Yeah, so I was in the hospital in Amersfoort, and I was there for a week. The first 1.5 day I was in coma,
Hmm.
so on a cooling protocol you probably were aware of. So
Yeah.
I woke up in the hospital, and I was there for a week. Moved to the cardiac department, and then I was transported with an ambulance to a university hospital
Yes.
in the middle of Netherlands, Utrecht. And there I get my ICD. I have a CRTD, so also I have 3 leads. That
Ah, yes.
third lead helps with the pump function.
Yeah. Ah, okay. Yeah. I think I have two leads. Yeah. Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
three
it
leads. Yeah.
is. It is. How do they call it? It's cardiac resynchronization therapy. So the third
Mm.
lead is gives a pulse with every heartbeat, so that
Mm-hmm.
my heartbeat was, let's say, not really synchronized, and it helps synchronizing the heartbeat.
All right.
So that helps the EF, so the pump function of the heart. So that increased from 20% now to 35%. So it has an extra function,
Yeah. Yeah.
and of course the defibrillation function. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And how do you feel with the ICD today? Like, are you used to it? I mean, I don't think you can ever
Yeah,
really get used to it, or that's my experience so far. But
yeah, it
how is it
is.
living with the ICD?
I, I I think I'm used to it,
Yeah.
but when saying that, it's not really true.
Mm.
You're every day when you're in front of the mirror, or
Yeah.
when you want to reach something and you feel it, or when you're sleeping on your left side and
Yeah.
you feel that
Yeah.
there's something
Yeah.
in the way. So you
Yes.
probably recognize that. So
Yeah.
in that way, I'm not used to it. There is something that shouldn't be there, but on the other hand, it helps you live, um, and it's for both of us. You cannot live without it. So um, I'm happy that I have it, but still every day I'm thinking about it. So in that way, I'm not used to it. Yeah,
Well, I can tell after 3 years now having it, I'm still in a way not used to it, and not that I don't
yeah,
appreciate it. I deeply appreciate
yeah,
my ICD. It's just like you said, I notice it every day. Like, ah, yeah, it's there, uh,
yeah,
but not in
yeah,
a negative way, right? It's like it's just a foreign object in your body. It's just weird to have that. But I do appreciate my ISD actually a lot. It's quite essential.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a good safety
yeah.
net. How was your recovery process? Because it's now been almost a year. How was it for you?
Um, Hard, to be honest. I think
Sure.
even up till now, it's somewhat more than a year ago, and you're young. You initially, I thought, and it was not really realistic, that I would start working again with a few weeks and
Mm-hmm.
going back to normal life. That wasn't really the case, of course. So first, I was at home just recovering, also from surgery. Although it's not really a huge surgery,
Yeah, but still.
it still it has impact, of course.
Yeah.
So the first weeks I was at home, I wasn't able or not allowed to drive, of course, because then your driver license is how to say, it's restricted for a few months.
Yeah.
Um, and then in the Netherlands, we have the hospital, they offer sort of physiotherapy. So
Yeah.
they help you to get back in shape.
Yeah. The
But then,
rehabilitation program.
yeah, sort of
Yeah.
rehabilitation program.
Uh huh.
Um, and they focus both on your physical ability, but also about for your mental ability. Although um, at that time I didn't need it. I found another way for more mental help or to help me adjusting the process. This was really the physical part, going to the hospital 2 times a week and do a lot of exercises within your capabilities, of course.
What helped you mentally then?
Yeah, I work for a large employer in the Netherlands, financial organization, and they um, have a lot of focus on the well-being of their employees. So
Okay.
within our organization, I even before my cardiac arrest, it was next to my diagnosis of dilated cardiomyopathy. I went to our I say it's a sort of department that helps you with physiotherapy, but also mental coaching. And I went to a psychologist
Yeah.
and I asked her, "Can you help me with this situation?" Because I do have two children.
Yeah. Yeah.
At that time, I wasn't aware. We didn't know if my children also have the genetic defect. So I looked for help in this process. And yeah, I'm lucky to have that person. That she helped me with many things. And uh, later on, we had a diagnosis for my children that they don't have the genetic defect. So that was
Wow,
a
that's good.
big relief. The most important, yeah, of all the news we
Oh
had in
wow.
that period.
Yeah.
So very happy.
Yeah.
So I had my physical rehabilitation in the hospital, and I had my mental coaching, let's call it like that, in
I see.
uh, at my
Yeah.
work. Yeah,
Yeah. So the recovery was hard, you said.
yeah,
What were some of the
yeah.
other things that made it hard or
Yeah,
difficult?
it's hard because you have to. Um, there are many things that change, of course. That's
Yeah.
because you cannot do certain sports, to give an example, or
Yeah.
just the recovery process of a cardiac arrest itself is quite hard. You were in a coma. You, although my neurological damage is limited, I did have a sort of I believe it's called brain fog. So
The first few months or still?
yeah, the first few months I can
Yeah.
it was until I believe September of 23. So around
Yeah.
a half a year or 7 months, and it yeah it I wasn't making any decisions, not at work, not in my private life. I was my short-term memory wasn't there, long-term memory also. So it were many things. Although I'm lucky to have this neurological situation, um, it did limit me in multiple ways, and also the uncertainty of what's next. Will you have another
Mm.
uh, cardiac arrest, and how does it feel when you get shocked, for example? There are many things that you think about, of course, um, and people don't see that you are sick. I'm looking just like the
Yep.
same person before. So,
You you have no
people,
idea how many
yeah,
times I've heard people tell me like, "Oh, but you look good," which then they
yeah,
think
me too.
means that you are feeling good, right? Which is like, I just had a cardiac arrest. No, I don't feel good at all.
No, yeah,
Uh,
yeah, exactly
yeah.
that. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, so it was hard,
Yeah.
but again, happy to live in the Netherlands. Happy with all the help around me, of my wife, of course, but also my children and neighbors, friends, family, co-workers. Um, really lucky to receive all the help. But then again, all those people, they don't see the struggle you have
Yeah.
when you fell asleep in the middle of the day, all the uncertainties you have to challenge. So,
I
but
think there's a
again,
lot
I'm
of invisible pains that you deal with as a cardiac arrest survivor. You feel them, but no one sees them. Or
yeah,
only the people
yeah,
really close to you, like your wife or children, maybe.
yeah,
But
exactly.
yeah.
That's what we often discuss that, because also in my case, at one end you have the cardiac arrest, on the other hand I have the cardiac situation. So in my case, it's dilated cardiomyopathy.
Yeah.
I know that there isn't a cure for it. So that's also something you have to cope with. You have to handle with that situation. And yes, you have medicine, and yes, you have ICD or CRTD.
Hmm.
But in the end, when I compare it to my cancer diagnosis, for example,
Yeah.
I had testicular cancer, and I had surgery and chemotherapy. But uh, the my perspective was quite positive compared to many other cancer types. This type of cancer is very well treatable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not sure if that's correct English, but
Yeah.
in the case of my heart condition, I know that they cannot treat it, or they can limit the impact, of
Yeah.
course, but
They maintain
there's no
it.
cure for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, this is
So
interesting.
yeah,
Of course, I mean, I don't know if you can even compare it, but compared to cancer, how was the cardiac arrest? Was it a lot more
in my
challenging?
case,
It's probably different in
yeah,
challenges, right? But
yeah. To be honest, and of course, I am very well aware that testicular cancer is a type of cancer that has a very positive outcome compared to many other various forms of cancer. I did have the type of testicular cancer that Lance Armstrong has. It was quite aggressive.
yeah.
But so I had I believe it was 2012 chemotherapy surgery, and it was very hard. But I, compared to my heart disease, this is way way more challenging, and I'm not sure why, but it's also maybe because I'm a father now. So at that
Mm,
time I was a young adult,
I see.
of course, wanting to have kids if it was possible, but now you're a father, so you have also another
Mm,
responsibility, of course. So
yeah, yeah.
that gives us somewhat more emotional challenge, I believe. Yeah.
Do you feel compared to cancer that there is less awareness to cardiac arrest, or is it pretty much the same in some aspects?
Um,
Because that's, I mean, I never had cancer, right? So I can't truly
yeah.
say, but I
Well,
feel when I
I
tell
think,
people
yeah,
about a cardiac arrest, many don't know what
yeah.
it is.
No, I recognize that, because many people see a cardiac arrest the same as a heart attack, for
Yeah,
example.
yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah.
I, I saw a former colleague, and he told me, yeah, my neighbor, he also had the same as you, and he was there for 24 hours. I thought, now, I think that's something different.
No,
So
yeah.
in that way, cardiac arrest, people, and me too, to be honest, before this situation, I didn't see the difference between a heart attack and a cardiac arrest. I thought it was the same, to be honest. So answering your question, in the Netherlands, both cancer and heart conditions or cardiac diseases, they got a lot of attention.
Okay.
So, but specifically for the cardiac arrest thing, that's something people, they do not know many about it until they really, or when they have someone in their, or a relative or family or someone they know very well had the same, then of course. But at our age, most of our friends and family, they are not really well aware. Yeah.
No, yeah. And do you know, because sure, there's no real treatment to it, but how are they trying to, in a way, maintain your condition? What is like the long-term plan in a way? Is there like an ablation plant or something like that, or is there just
No, no.
treatment with
Currently, it's just
medication?
medication.
Yeah.
So I have 4 types of medicine.
Yeah, okay.
So they dropped the losartan. I'm not sure why, but currently I have Entresto, and I believe that's valsartan. So I think more or less it's the same. I'm not really sure, but I have Entresto. I have Forxiga, dapagliflozin. I believe that's also a diabetes medicine, but it's helping patients with heart failure.
Okay.
I have spironolactone. It's also about, I believe it's helping in reducing fluids in your body. So also reducing the impact on your heart. And I have the beta blocker, bisoprolol, so 4 medicines. And of course the CRTD.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's quite some stuff, right? How do you feel
Yeah.
actually, taking all the medication? And because for some people, that's also something that you don't realize can be hard if you never had to chronically take medication. It's a weird thing to all of a sudden have to worry about, do I still have enough medication? And the side effects of it, right, aren't fun.
Yeah,
I don't know if
I'm
you
still
how it's for you.
searching whether the side effect. My biggest challenge right now is energy. At the end of the day, that's 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. I just fell asleep, and I'm currently until now not really sure. Is it a side effect, the cardiac arrest still? Is it or is it are these side effects of all the medication? Because it's quite heavy, all the medication. It does have a lot of side effects, and to be honest, I'm quite lucky with the way I live right now. But not sure if all those medications have restricts me in the energy right now. I don't know.
So your cardiac arrest is almost a year now, right? That you had it?
Yes, 1 year ago. It was 7th February 2022. So somewhat more than a year ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure, the medication will have some play in the feelings of fatigue. I know that the beta blocker, bisoprolol, made me so tired, like really tired, that they actually changed my medication to something different. And from a lot of people that I talked to who did take a beta blocker too, they did also said that it made them really tired.
Yeah.
So maybe reduce, I don't know, right? Talking with your cardiologist about that, because the quality of your life matters a lot too, not just the quantity, right? I mean, or that's up to you to decide or choose, right? But I value quality a lot, not just quantity alone. So maybe reducing the amount, the dosage can sometimes do a lot.
Yeah, I see my cardiologist this month, in 3 weeks, and I'm very happy with the cardiac experts that I already have seen, and also with the hospitals I visited. So this is one of my questions for sure. Yeah, but let's see. Yeah.
Hey, sorry to interrupt the conversation between me and Djara. This will just take a moment. If you want to support the project, then we got some really cool merch worth checking out, as the pullover that I'm wearing here with I'm a Heart Warrior on. We also have that on a mug and on a t-shirt. This design is explicitly made for cardiac arrest survivors, but we also have merch with the logo of the Heart Warrior Project on, like on this mug, with also a nice quote on it, and we also have that design on the pullover. Now, I am actually working on more designs with a couple of artists that I know, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, do also check just the link with the merch on that I will place in the description of this episode, as maybe if you don't like one of these designs, the other designs are already out. Or you can also go directly to heartwarriorproject.com/get-involved. Now, if you're not interested in any merch, but you still want to, support the project, then we do also offer donations, which also can be found again at the same link, Get Involved. So heartwarriorproject.com/get-involved, or again, check the description of this episode to find a link. All right, having said that, let's continue on now with the conversation between me and Djara. Okay, so yeah, it's just medication, the plan right now, to just keep taking that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I don't know what the future will bring. To be honest, the statistics aren't really that positive. On the other hand, the statistics are also about a group with a lot of elderly people, of course. So
yeah, that's true.
I see myself as the positive side of the statistics. Yeah. And just see what it will bring, what the future will bring. Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe you already mentioned some, but what have been some very difficult changes in your life after your cardiac arrest?
I think that before my cardiac arrest and the years before, I was running, for example, and I stopped running also because I'm a little bit scared to push myself and to push my heartbeat, for example.
For a few years ago, why?
No,
for the strain that you put on.
I always run with a smartwatch, a Garmin watch that also gives information about your heartbeat.
Yeah.
And a few years ago, I was running, and multiple times I had that. My smartwatch warned me, stop immediately, see a doctor or call an ambulance, because my heart rate was that high. And at that time, I didn't really notice it. I wasn't aware of my heart condition, but currently I am, of course, aware of my heart condition, and it somehow it restricts me in really pushing my heartbeat. So sure. I am allowed. My cardiologist says I'm allowed, but I'm struggling with it.
I get it.
Yeah. So that is one thing, and also the uncertainty about the future. That's something that has impact on your life. But furthermore, I think I do everything I did before. So it doesn't really restrict me, except then for sports, that you cannot have contact sports, for example.
Yep.
I know you're a climber, so I don't see me doing that, for example. No.
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly, I have little restraints in terms of movement when I climb. It's sometimes but you don't have to do that a lot. When you have to reach with your left arm really far, you don't have to do that with climbing a lot. So I am quite all good with movements during climbing, even with an ICD.
So I was indeed told that I cannot reach my arm above a certain level.
Still though, because I know in the beginning I wasn't allowed to do that for the wires to really become one with your body, but now
Yeah,
it should be
yeah.
okay, I think.
Well, the first 6 weeks I was indeed
Yeah,
really careful, but even after that, of course, for they advise to let's say a rowing machine when you
yeah.
continuously have strengthening your arm that they can lead to uh, damage in the I say it,
Ah,
in the leads.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, for example, yeah.
Ah, okay, okay.
So and that then currently I'm visiting a I said physiologist because
Mm-hmm.
I'm sort of moving towards a frozen shoulder. So that's also
Ah,
uh, you don't want that also. So and
how
it's
come?
strange because I don't know because in my opinion I do everything I did before, but
Hmm.
yeah, I'm not sure why, but
So now you just have to
trying
do a lot
to
of
prevent it. Yeah,
exercises with your left
yeah,
arm.
a lot of exercises and
Yeah.
yeah, I think I'm just in time, but it did give some pain, and when I'm reaching out, uh, yeah, it did send me a signal to get some help because it
Yeah.
wasn't moving in the right direction currently. So yeah,
Okay.
but then again, furthermore, I don't see really yeah any things that changed. Yeah.
It's not like you had to change jobs or something, because I know some people had to change that.
No, no,
No.
I'm at a challenging situation because I told you earlier that in November, to be completely exact, 16 November, I had the diagnosis of dilated cardiomyopathy.
Hmm.
But 2 weeks before, at the 1st of November, I started the new job. So I
Oh
had to
wow.
tell my manager, and it's really a great guy,
Hmm.
luckily. In 2 weeks, I had to tell him that I am ill, supposedly. So I didn't feel ill, but I was diagnosed with a serious condition, of course.
Yeah.
And yeah, I cannot complain about my organization. It it really is like I told you, an organization with where the focus on the human being, on well-being is there, but also with the help of my manager and co-workers. It was great. But it's of course strange because I was working for 3 months there, and I was in cardiac arrest, and immediately stopped working, of course, because you
Yeah.
were at home. Yeah.
I'm actually thinking now of like, I mean, I know that you said that you're quite a positive person, but have you never at some point felt in some sense, I don't know, angry? Because I mean, you had a cancer and a cardiac arrest. I mean, that
Yeah.
you had two of the
Yeah.
most horrible things that you
Yeah.
can have thrown at you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you
But on
never
the other
felt
hand,
some?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, you're completely right. And I did often question myself, why me? Of course, I think that's
yeah.
quite common to do. But on the other hand, when you look at those situations
Hmm.
and you see that the cancer, it was history. It was somewhat from the past, and I
Right.
survived.
Yeah.
So I was lucky. And then again, having a cardiac arrest is way more impacting because you're so close uh, to death, of course.
Yeah.
And
Very
then when you
quickly.
survive,
Yeah.
yeah, and I survived without many major neurological damage.
Mm,
Then you're just I'm a lucky guy. So of course I rather don't have those situations.
yeah.
But when you do have the situations and you do live in the Netherlands with all the help you have and you survive, yeah, I cannot complain.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. You have a strong mindset because you keep your head and at the horizon of like what's next instead of like down of like, oh,
yeah.
what happened all to me.
I try to, yeah.
Yeah.
But what also helps is that you have family. I have two wonderful children, a great wife. So you also, I'm currently 40 years old. You have something to live for, of course. So
Yeah.
just looking forward.
Meaning,
Yeah, yeah,
having meaning can drive you
yeah,
through, yeah, darkness. So,
yeah.
how old are your children actually? Because are they aware of what happened to
Yeah,
you
they
when you're
are
underage?
aware, and we are also quite open, discussing, also making jokes about everything that happened. Um, Currently, they are 6 and 9, so at the time they were
Oh, okay.
5 and 8 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they did notice all the, yeah, things happening, all the complete event in the house. Um, are well aware of what happened,
Yeah.
and
I mean, at 8 and 5,
yeah,
you do still remember something
yeah,
impactful as that.
yeah, yeah, and it's also quite, yeah, I said heartwarming or cute that, especially my youngest daughter, they talk about my ICD, and they both are really well aware about the fact that I have an ICD. When they cuddle me or give me a hug, they uh, or yeah, I say it, moving to this side, for example, instead of this
Yeah.
side. So, and
Uh,
also the discussions we have around dinner time about
yeah.
the cardiac arrest, about having an ICD. They also tell sometimes at school that their father has, how to say it, a computer inside his body.
Yeah, that you're a
They don't know,
cyborg.
of course. Yeah, that I'm a cyborg. Yeah, exactly that.
Yeah.
So no, but it's we are open in the seriousness of this condition,
Hmm.
so they can ask anything, and
That's good.
it's not a big thing, to be honest. No, no.
Hmm. Is there actually anything when you think back now, um, that you wish your cardiologist has told you sooner? Or, something that you wish you had discovered sooner about surviving a cardiac arrest or living with an ICD? Is there something?
Not specifically, because they, of course, didn't expect me to have a cardiac arrest in 3 months.
Yeah.
So they did uh, tell me and my wife that there is a risk of sudden death. They call it also.
Yep.
So
Hmm.
there was a risk, but I have a lot of confidence and trust in my cardiologist
Yep.
that they do everything to help me.
Yeah.
So they are. He was quite straightforward in all the risks, but yeah, to be honest, uh, I wasn't also aware that this would be the case in 3 months. I thought,
Yeah.
okay, cardiac diagnosis, and I felt good, and let's see what it does. But it was a roller coaster in a few months. Yeah.
Mm. Do they have some explanation of why it happens so suddenly after 3 months? Do they have some kind of
No, and
insights
that is
on?
one of the questions I will ask probably the next time when I see my
Yeah.
cardiologist.
Uh-huh.
I'm curious because I felt like a fit 39-year-old male seeing a cardiologist, and suddenly you are a heart patient, and I have many questions about that. Was it the Losartan? Was it the medication that somewhat
Mm.
uh, triggered something? I
Yeah,
don't know.
that's what I was
Yeah.
just thinking now. I mean, not to say, I mean, it's complicated, right? It could totally not be the case of the medication, but it's
Yeah,
just so
yeah,
weird that changed in your life, right? The
yeah,
medication.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, might it have
Yeah.
something
On
to
the
do
other
with
hand,
it?
and that's I'm again trying to be positive. When I didn't had the diagnosis, and even going back to my nephew when he wasn't sick, uh, my wife, was she then that aware when I was making those noises in the middle of the night? So I am quite lucky that I had the
Yeah.
diagnosis, that we were in a sort of, yeah, let's
Right.
say, uh, yeah, process,
Yeah.
and she immediately knew that this was a cardiac arrest. So yeah,
Yeah, recognizing that it happens.
yeah,
I mean, yeah, that's vital too, right? Because some
yeah,
people might think
yeah,
that you're just making weird noises because you're having a nightmare or something, and then not taking it serious or too late serious. So
exactly. Yeah.
okay, yeah.
So yeah,
Hmm. Is there anything else coming on to your mind on that question of something that you wished, your cardiologist would have told you sooner, or something you wished you knew sooner about your ICD, or anything?
No, I do had maybe you also. No, you have two leads ICD. Yeah? I did a change in my ICD because what I do have, I have the third lead is I believe in the left chamber,
Yeah.
and it's close to the nerval spine. I believe it's called. I'm not a medic expert, but the pulse gives me a sort of a feeling sometimes
I had
when
that too.
yeah,
I
okay,
mean,
and I
yeah.
did change it. So
Okay. Yeah, yeah. Um,
they didn't tell about it. So yeah,
Same. I had it. I mean,
yeah,
I guess another lead. I don't know, when my heart rhythm was going too low, it was like increasing it, and oh no, it was something different. It was like doing maintenance every X amount of time, and
yeah,
I could
I had the
always
same.
feel.
So
Ah, yeah,
yeah, sort of drum
yeah, yeah.
that you're.
And then
Yeah,
when I was sitting and I was working, I always felt like little shocks inside me, and it
they
was
turned it
just
off in my case.
exactly.
Yeah, so
They did the same,
that yeah, yeah,
and I was like,
and
wow, thank God they can turn that off.
yeah,
uh,
strange feeling. And also
yeah,
yeah, you probably also have the pacemaker function. So
yeah,
below the threshold of 50 heart rate of 50 beats per minute, then it starts working and you feel it. It's a strange sensation, and it doesn't hurt or something, but it's sort of strange sensation, sort of drum inside your body. And then I look at my watch, I see, oh, I'm at 45 beats per
uh,
minute, and then it
yeah,
starts working. But nah, that's there are some minor things
yeah,
having an ICD, of course.
yeah.
Yeah,
And luckily, they can change settings that they could,
yeah,
adjust it to not that you don't have to feel it all the time or something, or not every day. So that's good. Yeah. I will say, when
yeah.
I
Yeah.
had a shock, I think last year for the first time, and
Really,
when you
okay.
do get it, you also feel
Yeah,
like the electricity the same way that you feel it now, where your heart rate is going too low. You also feel like the wires firing, and yeah, it's
and
weird.
do you know why you were shocked? Because I'm luckily not shocked, but
It's also, weirdly enough, but this was just pure, in a way. It was actually the night before I had to go to the hospital. I had a shock.
hmm,
But it
okay.
was just completely random, right? No per se reason why. But it was because you can have incorrect shocks, right? But this one was correct. There was something, yeah, going wrong again that the ICD read,
Okay.
and so it
Yeah.
gave me a shock to, in a way, reset, I guess.
Yeah.
But it happened in my sleep.
Oh, okay. Serious. Well,
Yep.
it's something. I won't say I'm curious about it, but
Uh,
or maybe it is.
yeah, yeah, I was
I
curious
don't want to
about
be
it too.
shocked. Again, don't get me
No,
wrong,
yeah,
but I'm
yeah,
also a little bit curious. But
yeah,
so, how does it
yeah.
feel? But yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah, but I had that the whole time too. And then you get shocked. It's just, in a way, nice to know how it feels, so you can, in a way, mentally prepare for it. Because now you have
yeah, yeah,
no idea, how am I going to respond when I get a shock? And you hear all these different stories. And I guess it's for everyone a bit different. Also, maybe the age, the time, the moment where you are at, how painful it will
yeah,
be. Because for me,
yeah, yeah,
it was not painful at all, and that might have to do because I was asleep, uh, and I was in bed. But
yeah.
I felt it, but I was not like in pain or something.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's good to know because you also hear stories about like a horse kicking you in the chest,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
someone with a baseball bat hitting you
yeah. And I don't
from
want to say anything. I mean, this could totally be the experience for some people, right? That it could be that
yeah,
intense or
yeah,
that painful. But I do know, with other things, that people sometimes over exaggerate, and that's. I mean, people often do that, right? That they over exaggerate certain things. And I only had one experience in bed, so I can't say that it is like a horse kicking your chest, but it might be a bit better than that,
okay.
I think.
Yeah.
from my
I,
experience.
I hope. Yeah, I
Yeah,
hope that I don't have it. Let's say,
yeah,
let's keep it like this
yeah,
till the
yeah,
end.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
But in a way, it is kind of crazy that, the ICD will work when it has to work, or most of the time it does what it has to do. And that's quite, I mean, it's not a pleasant thing to have a shock, but it works. It's there.
yeah,
It does
that's
save your life at
important,
that
and
moment.
yeah, indeed. So that's the most important thing, and that also gives me the confidence, and also uh, my wife the confidence that the all the uncertainty, all the anxiety she had, because she of course witnessed all the most frightening moments. She was there. I was asleep or in coma, or I wasn't there. So currently, I think she's also having the confidence I have in my ICD, and it's there exactly for this moment. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Is there actually anything, that helps you when you feel bad, tired or frustrated, or just, I don't know, anything else to your cardiac arrest, or your heart condition, or the ICD? Is there something that can lift you up?
Um, Yeah, of course, seeing my children, but also I walk a lot. Just walking
Yeah.
helps me clear my head. So I don't. I stopped running, but I started walking,
Yeah.
and I already had several walks before my cardiac arrest. Even the night before, I had a walk of 6 kilometers.
Oh wow.
On the way back, I was going to the pharmacy getting my another batch of medicines. So the night before, the evening before, I had my walk, and I'm currently still walking, and it helps me. Yeah, just thinking about my heart condition, but also many other things. So that helps me, and I would recommend everyone to just walk. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree. I mean, keep moving, even if you
yeah.
can't do the sport that you loved doing before, or just keep moving and walking. Most people, to everyone who had a cardiac arrest, can still do that, and it does clear your mind. Yeah. Is there actually anything still that you feel is difficult? I mean, it has been a year, which is in some sense not so long ago. But is there still, yeah, is there something that you feel is quite difficult to communicate to the people
Mm,
around you?
no, I think I started working full time at the 1st of January. So I want to live a normal life. So and as discussed earlier, people don't see me uh, like another person, or they don't see that you are a heart patient having
Yeah.
heart failure. So that sometimes is hard because, like I told you before, I have the energy balance is quite fragile.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's really challenging because you have to make sometimes you have to make decisions between work, between doing fun stuff with your children or visiting friends, or so you have a certain amount of energy and you cannot do it all. And that's something you did before, and that's something you have to be aware of. Yeah,
Yeah, you have to calculate a bit more the amount of energy that you have and to what will you give it that day.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that is something I hope it will change,
Mm-hmm.
but currently, yeah, that is my main issue to cope
Yep.
with. And also sometimes it's frustrating. It's not that you want to be an ill or sick person. You want to be a normal person,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
there are also people that let's say when you say you're tired, then I'm meaning I have a lot of fatigue. I'm
Yeah.
really tired, and then people react,
Yes.
yeah, but when I have a long work day, I'm also tired,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think, okay, yeah, that's not exactly the same, to be
No.
honest. So, but yeah, that's just a normal human being, a normal reaction, of course. But
Sure,
no,
people try to
yeah,
resonate in some sense, but
yeah,
it's not always helpful though. Um,
no, 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 no,
but you're right. I had that so many times in the beginning that that I was beyond tired, and it was exactly not just like, oh, I had a long day, and but it was just I was depleted of energy. I had nothing,
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
so
just
different that
really,
than just having not
yeah,
slept enough or something.
yeah. So, but no, that if that are the only issues, then I think we cannot complain. So, no, I'm. I'm quite happy with the situation as it goes right now. Yeah.
And I will say, I mean, through time, things can improve. You will gain more knowledge about your condition. You will start to
Yeah,
build a better plan with your cardiologist, and yeah, I mean, your energy might improve.
I hope. I hope so.
I think it will.
Yeah,
I mean, I can't
yeah,
say for certain, right? But
yeah.
I'm just looking at my own situation, and I was really tired the first year, and then I feel that it improved quite. It continued
Okay,
to improve.
okay. Yeah, I hope it will change. And again, I'm really, if this is the end state, I'm also happy with it. I can live a normal life.
Mm,
I can work. I have a lot of private. My private situation is also good as it is right now. Um, but I hope that there will somewhat more energy in the future. But let's see.
yeah,
Um,
I mean,
yeah,
you deserve that, right? After all the things that you've gone
yeah, and
through,
yeah, I do deserve it,
you
and
deserve that.
I'm
Yeah,
well aware of my. You have to live healthy, of course. So there are many things you can do to have more energy, and it's. I cannot blame others. I cannot blame the medication or other elements. It's also up to you to live in a healthy way and do everything you can. So
yeah.
there's many things you can do for yourself.
Jara, I just have one more question for
Hmm.
you that I'm curious about to hear your
Yeah.
thoughts on. For any cardiac arrest survivor listening, is there any best last tip you would want to, tell them? Or is there anything, last, just something that you would like to share to a cardiac arrest survivor listening?
Um, yeah, I think to start every situation, of course, is different. So also the way we deal with this situation is different. What helped me personally is to read a lot about my heart condition, about
Mm-hmm.
cardiomyopathy, about cardiac arrest, about my IC. I just wanted to know everything, and that helped me. So that's one thing. So uh, do understand what happened. Do understand what's happening to you. And of course, we are no cardiac experts, but it's, in my opinion, good to uh, know as many as possible so you can ask the right questions, for example, to your cardiologist.
Yeah.
Um, but what also helped me, so at the one hand, it's really about understanding your situation and reading all about it. On the other hand, what helped me personally is to hear other stories, and that's why I was happy with your Heart of
Yeah.
Warrior project
Yeah.
because there isn't really there's a lot of information, but the experience, the real experience of heart patients that also survived cardiac arrest, for example, those are limited.
Yeah.
So, and that helped me to also again understand the situation and to hear what the future might bring, for example, and that there is a perspective that you will get some energy back, for example. So that really helped me. And the last thing I would advise is to get help, professional help, a mental coach or psychologist, physical
Yeah.
help, rehabilitation programs, but also and that's also important to ask help from your family, friends, neighbors, because you cannot do it on your own. And we received a lot of help, and we are really thankful for that also. Yeah.
Mm. Are there are
So
there are there lessons that you know apply? Are there similar lessons that you applied having dealt with cancer to your cardiac arrest? Some of the those that you shared now, are those some?
Yeah, the first one. I also 10 years, or it's now 12 years ago. I was also reading all about it,
Yeah.
and I at that time also I was very happy with the experiences of other uh, testicular cancer survivors. So what what does chemotherapy look like? And how did they manage the challenges as a young adult, as getting a mortgage for your house, or
Right.
having children? And so all those stories helped me back then, and that helped me also right now. So the stories of the heart patients and cardiac arrest survivors help me understand the situation. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Well, your story here today will also help other cardiac arrest
Yeah,
survivors
I hope
listening.
so.
I'm
Yeah.
sure. I'm sure it will. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, truly, thank you, for taking the time and giving energy to, this conversation,
Yeah.
which, yeah, we don't have a
Yeah,
lot
you're
sometimes, but
welcome, and really, yes, thank you for setting up this project, because again,
sure.
it really helped me, and I'm very sure that it will help a lot of other patients in the future, and dealing with the same challenges we have, of course. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. So, Djara, thank you for appearing here on the show.
you're welcome.
All right, and that concludes this episode with Djara Walgien and me. I hope that you gained something out of this episode. Some support, some insights, some information that could help you along this journey of yours on this, complex and wild road that we're on as cardiac arrest survivors. Now, as I also said in the beginning, don't forget to subscribe, and if you could leave a rating on whichever podcast app you're using, that would truly mean the world to me, and would again help these episodes to be spread out more there into the world, so you are directly helping other cardiac arrest survivors as well by doing that. With that, I do hope that I get the chance to welcome you again soon on another episode here on the podcast of the Heart Warrior Project. Until then, this is your host, Jellis Vaes, signing off. Oh, before you take off, don't forget that we have some really cool merch, like the pullover that I'm wearing here, with I'm a Heart Warrior on. We also have that on a mug and on a t-shirt. This is explicitly meant for cardiac arrest survivors. Or we have another design with the logo of the Heart Warrior Project and a nice quote here on this mug. We do also have that on the pullover. And I'm working with more artists for more designs. So there's more cool stuff coming. If, I don't know, maybe you don't like one of these designs, then, still check out the page for the merch, which I will place in the description of this episode. Or you can also go directly to heartwarriorproject.com/get involved. So if you would come to buy some merch or make a donation, thank you honestly, truly, just for doing that, as it does allow me to continue doing this project. Alright, I'll see you hopefully on another episode.